That's right, my friends. Welcome to another episode of ChristianPodcast.com, also known as Christian Podcast Latino. So we are Beto and Mili, and today we have a special guest, Amy Cardiff.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, Beto, you just told us that you're an introvert. I don't think with that intro you're an introvert.
No?
No. You come alive on this.
Okay, so I'll tell you what happens. Mili is so extrovert, like next level extrovert. She makes me look like an introvert.
I don't know, even on the podcast?
Probably on the podcast, it depends. Yeah, she interrupts me a lot, but I tend to do the same.
Okay.
And who are our little friends today?
Oh, this is Pearl and Marshmallow.
Pearl and Marshmallow.
Yes. I was going to
You don't feel like home?
I totally feel like home. I love this.
You know, we had one episode with our dog Manchitas, and it was like being in my house, in my living room.
Well, you said Manchita sleeps with you too.
Yes.
So, part of the family.
Part of the family.
I love it.
There we go.
And you were telling us before we started how you knew Beto was the one that God sent for you. I love that story.
Yes. I was sharing that. Who's doing the interview, her or us?
She's interviewing us at this point. Yes.
She's a leader, you can tell.
Uh-huh.
So, I was telling you that God spoke to me twice, like clearly, that the first time I was in the mountains, we were on a retreat. And I always was looking for, or I always had a boyfriend, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to be by myself or if the funny thing, I will broke with someone and at the next day I have a boyfriend already. And they were like,
just
how
casually,
you do
there's
it?
the next one.
How you do it? But I feel like
the next day.
crazy. Now I feel so bad, right? But that was my need to don't be lonely because I meet my mom died when I was 14. My dad abandoned me, so I feel like I fulfill my happiness or whatever with having someone. And it's kind of sad because I was dating, so I didn't have so many friends because my boyfriend will be my everything. And I will work so hard to be part of his family and people can love me and accept me. But I was choose wrong with toxic people or with addictions, which I was doing the same like my mom did, you know?
Yeah.
My dad was an alcoholic. So, and plus it's normal. In Mexico, almost everybody drinks. It's cultural, you know? Tequila, mariachi, fiesta. We're like a party people.
Yeah. In the U.S., they only drink on Cinco de Mayo. Right?
Margarita.
There's only drinkers on
But
that
I think
day.
a lot of people can relate to that story too, Mili, because people are lonely these days and they fill it with all the wrong things, like you're talking about. But, you know, and that thing becomes their everything. Whereas for you, God spoke to you. And
Too bad, because when I decided, like, you know what, God? No more men in my life. I'm tired. Just you be here. You are the perfect shape for the one I have here inside. You are everything I need. So when I gave it to him, Beto appeared. You know?
Wow.
And God, and I was, and these beautiful mountains, everything was green, kind of chilly, the air. And I was just having, you know, looking, and I was like kind of lost, looking the landscape. I was like, it's beautiful. And then I hear God saying, he is the one. That's
Beto.
the one, is Beto. He's the one who you're going to marry. And I was like, I start crying. Like, yeah, I take him. Thank you. I was like,
I'll take them.
yes.
And Beto, you said you never dated anyone.
I always say my girlfriend from kindergarten, but everybody says, no, that doesn't count. To me, it counted. So, I don't know. I considered it my first girlfriend. But yeah, second one would be Mili.
Oh.
Yes.
Tell how you wrote it down.
So Mili had this. I guess I like writing, right? Because I'm an introvert, really. I'm an introvert, but I like writing stuff, and I wrote songs and things like that. So I had a journal and I would write stuff, right? And I mean, at the age, I was like 26 or 27, 26? 26. So at that time, I mean, you're like actively looking for somebody, right? At least I was, right? Especially being single for so many years. So I was actively looking for someone. And so I would write stuff, and when I met Mili, I started just sharing a little bit of what I wrote, you know? So I guess at some point, you know, when she was talking with God, she felt like, okay, this is the man for you. And she wrote down it. So when she wrote it, I read it and I'm like, oh, okay. Cause I was an introvert. So I would never ask anybody out, you know, like girls out and stuff like that. Cause I'm shy. I don't know how to. But when I read what she wrote, I'm like, oh, so she does like me. She's interested in me. And she actually said that she said yes to God.
Yeah.
In my favor. So, okay, she's
and
the
that
one.
gave you the confidence.
It gave me the confidence that she's the one.
And then you asked her?
And then, no. And then, so we're in a table, and this is a Christian camp somewhere in Big Bear up there, right? So everybody in the table is kind of like little kids stuff. Okay, everybody in the table is going to say who they like or love and where are they. So we went around the table, you know, so everybody's like, oh, I love my girlfriend and she's right here, you know. Oh, I love this guy, but he's in college or things like that, right? So then it got to me and I said, well, I really like Mili and she's right there. You know, and then it got to Mili,
and like, and
Mili is like this. So Mili stands up, really, because Mili has always been really proper, right? So Mili stands up, and she's like, "This has been a great camp, and I've learned so much. I would like to introduce to all of you Beto, my boyfriend."
Aww.
And boom, she introduced me as her boyfriend. So I'm like, oh, okay, so she confirmed it. And also it made it legit.
What's so cute because they were younger than us, right? And imagine, so I had this rough life, like super hard. When I moved here, I was a teacher at the university. I went a Christian university, private. It's the best 5 private schools in Guadalajara. And I had the opportunity to teach there for 2 years. I had my master's degree there too. So I was teaching, I was working at the university. I was like, these childs, right? They were so cute. And I really enjoyed that time. And they put together 2 chairs and they start singing.
Oh,
and
yes.
I remember this girl, I forgot her name. I wrote this song because I know one day I'm gonna marry, and nobody knows this song, but I want to share with you guys in this moment. So it was so a special time for her and for us too, and they were praying over us and singing that special song that she wrote.
Yes.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
that was so
coming
cute.
Back. Thank you, Amy.
So cute.
You're bringing out the vision.
Oh, I love the love stories.
That was
That's
so
cool.
cute.
Yeah, the song. I forgot her name, but she went on to like work. She was at Vanguard. That's why Mili says they were kids, because they were college age, and we were 26, so we're the older ones, right? Like only 3 years older than they were, maybe 4. But she was at Vanguard, and then she ended up, I think, working for like CNN or one of those like big news networks.
She's so talented.
In New York. Yeah, she was originally from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. So it was great. I mean, great. Then the topic of the whole camp was like, who am I going to marry? So guess what? We found out.
At the camp.
At the camp. And when we went to the camp, we were just kind of like supporting, because one of my friends was going to Vanguard, and he told me, because I play guitar, worship at our church. So he said, hey, would you help us lead worship at this youth camp that we're going? Or no, I don't know if it's youth at that point, but no, young adults camp. And I said, oh, yeah. So I went, but I didn't know who was going to speak. I didn't know the theme of the camp. I didn't know anything other than I'm going to show up with my guitar and we're going to go and sing a few worship songs.
And now here you are 16 years later, in love as ever.
16 years later, with Mili. We're gonna.
And you're both
Share
still
it here.
smiling.
Yes.
You're both still happy.
Nah,
Yeah.
we fight a lot.
Well,
But I think it's normal.
You love
it's
each
part
other,
of it.
though.
I
think
feel
it's
like
part of it.
God put so many tests in your life,
Yeah.
and He's always testing us. Our faith. It's. I'm so proud to, or maybe He gave me the strength to keep visioning, and looking at the future because life is tough.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Yeah, we came together. And, I remember listening to people, yes. And sometimes people get mad because they put the trash in a different place or they forgot to put the top to the toothpaste and things like that. So we're still fighting for that,
The little things.
That might be normal.
The little meaningless
things.
things.
Because Beto is messy and I need to be like everything clean and cleansed and, otherwise I can sit down.
Yeah.
No dishes, no nothing
You need
out
it
of their space.
clean before you can relax.
And
Yeah.
he cared less.
I care a little bit.
Because I do that.
But the studio is so pretty and clean.
Yes. I mean, I think this is where we two like come together and agree. It looks like this, right?
This is, you know what? The first time I came to this
Do you
studio,
know this is my living room? We
tell.
built this and we have no furniture. And I told my husband, honey, we need a studio. We need to be comfortable. We don't have money to put right on furniture. Let's just bring our living room. And my kids, you know what they did? A soccer field in my living room with tape. They taped it.
So now you have a soccer field?
We came home and they
Well, it was only for one night. Yeah, we got home and they
okay.
marked they're playing soccer because there's no furniture here.
We're going to enjoy it while we can.
destroy my house.
Well, what were you saying, Amy, when you first came?
Oh, yeah.
You were going to
I
say
just
something.
felt like this was such a homey place. And how sweet it was and how anointed. I felt like when I was talking to you, it was just a
Wow.
really great conversation.
Yeah.
That you can just relax here and talk about what you need to talk about. Get off your chest. And
Yes.
also that just God was in it. You know? Millie has a great way of just keeping you busy with your words.
Wow.
You keep it going, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to keep it going when you have people who like to talk and who love God. I think that makes you comfortable to talk. And you said you're very open.
Yes, a little bit too much.
Well, that's a good thing, though. I think it's good. People want honest truth, and you do that. So,
Wow. Thank you.
yeah.
I mean, that's a
I think-
great compliment.
I think God can use all of that, right? And if you don't come transparent and with who you are, so that would be fake.
Yep.
And I don't like that. I'm not gonna trying to be someone I'm not.
Right.
And some people reject me for who I am, and it's sad. And I get sad, and my heart is like in pain because I just love people. But when I open up who I am, can be because I don't have the same status, the money issues, or because I have Jesus in my heart, and people reject Jesus hard, bad, like, ugh. I'm not gonna deny who I am and who's my king, and that's my purpose in life.
I always
To share
think, though,
him.
Millie, that the right people are going to show up and the wrong people can get out, right? You don't need those people who are not for you. They can go find someone else.
But
So,
it's sad. So now I can understand Christ. I can understand God because He's always there at our door, knocking, waiting for us, and He presents in so many forms. He's talking to people all the time. We're the ones we don't want to listen because when you come with your heart, like, where are you? Talk to me. I just want to know something, like what is the next step? And sometimes when the hard part is when the waiting room, the waiting time.
yeah.
That's the hard part because when he replied no, okay, that's fine. Or when he say yes, you celebrate. Like, you get so excited. But when it's
Not
wait,
yet.
not yet.
Yeah.
So when, like, I'm running late. Like, it's time.
Wow.
I need it from yesterday.
But
It seems like he does that a lot.
But just like the story of you and Beto, he just at the right time, even when you don't expect it, it's the best time.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I know you're working. I know you're doing something. But imagine we're fighting not just with our own body, our own mind, our own self. We're fighting with the devil.
Yeah.
And we are fighting with the world. It's tough. If you're not in the Word, if you don't know who is Jesus and who He is in our lives, I don't know how people can do that. Honestly. Because just this morning, I wake up and I just have nightmares. And I go, oh, how mean I am. And I detected that nightmare was from me. Was not the devil, was me. My jealousy, because I want to be with my family. My sister, she just have a newborn baby. And all my family is in the room. All my family is helping her. Nobody helped me here in the U.S. when I was like, when I delivered my babies, and I have another 2 with my third one, was so hard. Like I remember my first baby, my grandma asked me, honey, who's going to assist you? What are you talking about, Grandma? Yeah, you need to be in bed for 40 days and you do not do nothing, and somebody needs to shower. You're like, that doesn't exist here. At the second day, I was washing my shower and my bathroom, because I like things clean.
Yeah,
I can handle it. So thanks God, I had my babies natural. So I feel that you can stand up at after 2 hours of labor, you can do everything, right?
Yeah.
When they open, probably will be different. But I was like just doing normal life. But I was like,
me too.
So I wake up sad, like, Mili, you're mean. That because my feelings and my jealousy, because I'm not there and my whole family is there, I had these bad dreams. And my sister called me this morning. She never called me because she's busy with the baby. And she calls me like, Sol, I miss you.
Aww.
And I know I want to be there. And I was mad at my aunt and I was fighting with her because you are mine.
Oh.
I was a mother for her.
Yeah.
So for her it was tough too when I moved here, because I was a mom and a dad for her, But yeah, so I pray to God. I ask God, just help me through this. I know you have a purpose for my family, for my kids. And what I shared, we all went to a fancy dinner about C.S. Lewis. It was so amazing. And they give us a golden envelope. And inside of the envelope, you will open it and they have an inscription.
Wait, back up. So on, what was that? Friday night? Saturday night? Saturday night. Saturday. And we all here went to the dinner and were.
It was a surprise because I don't know you were.
Yeah,
you was
I
planning
saw
on going.
and then I was like, wait, what? But yeah, okay, then go on. Okay, so then we sat down at the dinner table and there were
different
gold
tables.
envelopes.
We all have one.
And there was a little gold envelope that they tell you don't open this until we tell you. And then what? Okay, keep going.
And then I asked God, talk to me. And I'm the only one who have a different scripture. All of them sounds the same. It's a different verse, but everything was about the light and the salt and the darkness. No, mine was like, you are made by image of God. You are in charge to have the domain of over all the animals. And I start crying, and I told them, my experience with this is I'm already doing that. I reproduce. I have 3 wonderful kids that I don't know who are they. They're so talented. They're so kind. Joseph, I went, because the event we went was from Pacifica, our kids' school, your ex-school. And everybody, all the teachers, your son is doing great. Your son is doing great.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank you. And my son came over and he told me, Mommy, my friends, they asked me, your mom knows what you are doing? And I was like, no, she don't know. but it's okay, mommy. I know you're busy. Because he's doing like cross country so good that now he won like a race over the seniors to everybody. He was the first one.
Wow.
So he never run before.
And he got a scholarship.
And he got a scholarship at the school.
And he's doing great.
And he's doing amazing. And he's been 3 months at Pacifica.
Yeah.
And my son already changed.
That school is amazing.
My
The
son
teachers
is
are
so
amazing.
happy.
I'm so glad your son likes it because I mean, that school changed our life. I love that school. I love the teachers. One of the things I talk about in my vision workshop is this assignment that Dr. Woods, he's one of the teachers there at Pacifica. He told us in his book club he gives to the kids. He says, I want you to write down your priorities. You know, and a lot of people say the right thing. They say God, you know, your faith, your friends, your family. And then he tells them, now I want you to keep track of what you actually do that day. And like God ends up being maybe 2 minutes of prayer. And then their cell phone or their social media ends up being kind of the biggest part. So their life doesn't match their priorities, right? And I felt like I write the same things. I write God, you know, my faith, my family, but then I spend such little time doing my actual priorities, right? That school just makes you realize what your priorities are too. I mean, they force the kids to like put their priorities in order, don't you think?
Well, 3 months. And I have a different son.
Really?
Okay, he's always been doing good. He is my police kid at home. You know, he is the perfect child, my son say, my middle one. Oh, he's so hard, you know, how I'm going to compete with this. He's a perfect boy because he's always been so good, you know, and I never helped him with homework because my English is not pretty good. The math is totally different than in Mexico, so they're by themselves. I just force them to be in the table. I fed them. That's my job. You do your job. If you need help, I can call your teacher now.
But they take the initiative, right? Isn't he taking the initiative now and doing the work himself?
But that's my first rule. You come from school, and you sit down at the table.
Okay.
So now without telling them, they just move to the table. And while I'm making the food for them, they're working on their homework.
Perfect.
So I was saying, like, yeah, God is always there for us. He wants to speak. He wants to tell us. But the waiting time is tough. And not just for me.
I like how you put that. The waiting room.
Nobody likes
the
that.
waiting room.
You know, when you go to the doctors, I went this morning. Like they say at 8 was my appointment, and they say 30, and I have things to do. You know, like.
They kept you in the waiting room.
So now, and I checked the list, and we're like 3 people at the same hour. So how they do that, right? So yeah, but God is always good because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So no matter what, and I always say that no matter what happened, God is always good. And then something clicks. And I start fighting again. You know, I feel like I'm in this. I'm trying to live Ephesians 6. You know, it's a we need to put all the armor of God
on, yeah.
So we have the shield that can protect us, right? And this shield is not just to cover this part, because that's why we have the other one who goes on our chest. It is what?
The breastplate of righteousness.
Breastplate.
But that's not enough. We have the helmet of salvation, but that's not enough. Yeah. You know, we need the shield, and that can cover your whole body. It's not just here. We'll think it's just round and like the Captain America. No way. It's cover us all. So like, you know, and when the devil is distracted, I just pull my sword of truth, you know, and fast. I destroy him. But I need my sword. Otherwise, I can get, you know, in a dark place.
It's surprising to me that you go dark because you seem so positive.
I'm an extrovert. You give me energy. Sorry. And Beto give me energy. So, and I already went out and I was talking I did some x-rays, and I was talking to this Egyptian guy, and I was sharing with him. So see, I just have my energy from him, and I came here, and I was like, I'm getting energized.
Ready to go.
But Beto, I think you're an extrovert too. You just have to be doing the right things, like playing your guitar. You get energy from that, or from doing this podcast, right?
Yes, the right things. I think that's good.
The right things. Yeah. And she just gets every energy from everything and everyone.
Yeah, from people mostly.
Yeah.
But I think I can get it from people too. But also, we were learning at the dinner with C.S. Lewis. It really impacted me so there was one scholar from Cambridge, right, giving the talk.
Dr. Geed?
Yes.
Dr. Geed, Father Dr. Geed.
Father. Yeah, I mean, he had so many titles, and he's a musician, and he's a father, and
he was a poet.
And he was a poet, and he kind of like personally not knew C.S. Lewis, but he, he's so connected to C.S. Lewis that I think, I don't know, in a sense, it's almost like he's the closest connection we have to C.S. Lewis.
So amazing.
In a sense. So it was really cool, because right now I'm reading, we finished The Magician's Nephew, the first book of the Chronicles of Narnia with Dorian and Melody, our youngest kids. Last night, we're reading it. So we've been reading that, and we got to talk with him a little bit at this dinner at the end. But something that impressed me is that he said that C.S. Lewis had kind of like a personal debate, right? Because he was an atheist, right? That's kind of like his claim to fame, that he used to be an atheist, and then he became one of the most prominent Christians in probably the 20th century.
Right.
But one of the things that this scholar was saying about him is that when he was debating, maybe in 1926 or 1927, when he was converting, that he was wrestling with the idea of reason. And he's like, like, what's on the other end? But then what he realized, C.S. Lewis, is that you need to have reason, but you need to have imagination too.
And he actually named them in that poem, remember?
Yes.
He named the two. And they were talking to each other, right?
Yes.
Remember that in the poem?
It was called
The second poem.
Demetrius and Athena's.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And the poem was called, I think, The Reason.
The poem.
The Reason, right?
Mistakenly called The Reason, because that's the cool thing about C.S. Lewis is that he never released his poems only till after he was dead. That's when they published them. So this one was untitled, and the guy that published it named it Reason. But then this scholar, right, he's like, I don't think it should be named that. It doesn't make sense, because he was debating these two ideas.
Yeah.
And especially in this poem. And lo and behold, he talked to the person that published the poems, and he said, was it originally called Reason? Oh, no, not at all. I had to name it something. So I named it Reason. And I mean, it was just genius, have imagination on one side and reason on the other. And I love that, because I feel like we need to live in the tension of both.
Yes.
And you can't just have one, and you can't just have the other. You need both.
So that's why we're the perfect couple.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, because Mili is way more
100%.
Yes.
He is 100% like
imagination and creativity.
Yeah.
And that's what energizes me.
But I think each of us have both of those going on in our heads all the time. Like, we're always constantly arguing with our own reason and imagination, don't you think?
Yes.
Like, each of us personally too.
Yes.
I mean, you're creative, and she's reasonable, but she's also creative, and you're also reasonable.
And it makes so much sense that in life, like one thing we all know about the brain is divided in two, right? So on one side, you have your creative side, and the other side of your brain, you have your reason side. So it makes so much sense that everything points to, like, you need both. You can't, maybe technically some people maybe can function with half of their brain, but you need both, right? And I think that's in everything. You need both. And even in like theological talks, there's this idea of orthodoxy and orthopraxy. So orthodoxy being like the right way of believing something, but then orthopraxy, how do you put it to work, right? So I feel like, oh wow, there's always that tension of like, you need both.
Yeah.
You need to have, you can't just talk the talk and not live it out.
Right.
You need to
right.
live it out.
It makes me think of that scripture. Maybe you'll help me think of the scripture, but to cast down your imagination. So you need to work with only the right imagination too, because your mind can really keep going on the wrong, like the dark side, like you were talking about.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you can start thinking the wrong things too. And your mind can be like, your mind can know what's right, but you go to the dark side very easily, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Because
I just was helping my son last night.
Yeah.
He came dark. Bad. He was like, rah! And I put my hand in his forehead, and I started doing this because he was like this. He was like moody, So I just relaxed this here. And I start talking to him. Who's talking to you? You need to control yourself. Like, think. The devil is not gonna put us down, Dorian. We're gonna go happy to bed because he wants, I feel like he started it, then me, and then Dorian. I was fine, he was fine, then Dorian. He just looking for someone to attack.
Yeah.
But we detect it like this because we know that our fight, it's not with a human being, it's with the spirit
of it.
Of
negativity.
No.
Yeah.
Like, because he was doing something wrong, and I catch him and I tell him, don't do this because it's wrong. I don't want you to be in trouble. It's for your good. But relax. No, I'm happy. You're happy. Everything is okay. If you know how to do good and you don't do it, Dorian, it's a sin.
No.
So that's it. So I calm him down. But, and we have, this beautiful, we all went happy to bed. And you was reading to them, right?
We finished The Magician's Nephew book. And I mean, it was beautiful too because it's connected to Aslan at the end. He's kind of like saying that. I mean, it's about the waiting room because Aslan's saying, almost like think of the experience you had with me. And Aslan, I mean, those of us who are Christian, I guess we know, okay, Aslan represents Christ, right? Or Jesus. And he says, when you're back to the real world, remember how you interacted with me, with Aslan, and remember that kind of like I'm with you, I'm hope. So whenever you're there and you're like, everything's becoming too real, right? To
remember,
you're just in the reason. Remember, like imagine how it was when you were with me.
Why do you think it is that we forget so easily?
I
mean, like from day to day, you almost have to remember moment to moment. Why do you think that is?
Because he wants us to depend on him. So it's like exercise.
We have to do it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
For me, it's every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are. That's true. So focus. The world attack me, sometimes it's people attack me. And it's like, I don't have self-control. But I remember like, that's not him. That's not her. I know who you're talking to me. And I refocus. I put my eyes in him again. Okay.
That's such a good word, refocus. I love it. You have to remind yourself and then you have to refocus, right? You're good at that though, Mili.
Yeah. Let's practice.
Are you good at it? I have to catch myself.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think we all need to either go back to the word. But I love what you were saying, because you were saying kind of like we kind of like lean to one or the other, right? Either reason or imagination. And you can see where people resource to one or the other and they kind of like get lost in either one, right? People are, it's just facts.
Yeah.
Just give me facts, right? And there's no imagination anymore. Or people who are like way deceived by their imagination. They're like, hey, come back to reality a little bit.
Yeah. And I love how that connects with the meaning crisis we have right now.
The what crisis?
Meaning crisis.
Yes.
Meaning.
Yeah, that's what he was saying too. What's his name? Malcolm, who was speaking.
We don't know how to go in that friction that Beto was saying, back and forth. Like people is lost right now. It's not common sense.
Yeah.
They have no meaning of life. What is life?
Yes.
What is happiness?
The way he said is, reason offers you truth. but imagination offers you meaning, right? So that's why you need both.
You need
because you can have the facts, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And I think right now maybe society is more what do you say, charged on the fact side, right? Especially as we develop our society and we're so technologically advanced and all these things, like, oh, everything needs to be scientifically proven. But then if it's just scientifically proven, you kind of lose and what does that mean? And what is that for? Right? And that's where you kind of like need to come back to imagination.
How you can prove love.
And purpose. Right. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Right. Otherwise, you kind of get rid of like even love. You know, I've heard pastors who say, one of them said, I don't really believe in evolution because I think we would have gotten rid of love if it was true, because love makes you weak. Right. And I think it's that idea that in this sense, love pulls you a little bit away from the facts, right? Because you're just in love. No, and there's no fact. The only fact is like, I'm in love. And that's kind of cool. And I think also what you were saying, you know, you're reminding us like, how did you meet and how did you know you were for each other? And I can't help but think like, wow, you're refreshing us and you're kind of like refocusing us as you're asking these questions too.
When I love that discussion about C.S. Lewis. And I just think about my own kids. My daughter is super emotional. She's so emotional and so into the imagination, very creative. She was studying to be a nurse. And my son is all about the facts. He if it doesn't have facts, it's really hard for him to have faith. I mean, one of the things he's struggling right now is with his faith. He could tell that story. I'm not going to tell it. But it's funny to watch two separate people who came from me, my same upbringing, and they're so totally different. I know people say that about their kids, that their kids are totally different. But I wonder how to encourage more faith from my son who wants the facts, but also encourage more reason for my daughter who sometimes gets so caught up in emotion. But I think it's the two sides of me too. You know what I mean? I'm very emotional, but I also love to learn. I love C.S. Lewis. And I think that we were talking about denominations the other night too, when we were at the C.S. Lewis, how just between the three of us here, we have 4 denominations of Christianity. You grew up Catholic and you became more Assemblies of God. I grew up more...
And then Baptist.
And then Baptist. So we've got a lot of... But I think those denominations kind of represent these two things of reason and imagination. What do you guys think about that?
They represent, I think so. I think there's...
And that's why I love them all, though. I mean, like, I agree. I love the Pentecostal because I love the emotional, but then I'm also in a pastoral class and in the Anglican church, and they're very, intellectual, and I like that part too.
Yes, so, I'm like you. I feel like I now that I'm more, I don't know. I've been in Christianity longer. Right, I'm 43, and I grew up like this, right? I grew up in all kinds of different... for once, I grew up in Mexico where everybody's Catholic, but I grew up Protestant among Catholics, right? And then I came here and then started going to Pentecostal, and now we're in a Baptist church, and no, my cousin he's a missionary with like a Bible. They're just called like biblical church or Bible church.
Beautiful. So
there's...
I love...
And there's all kinds and all of the above. But I think now I appreciate, even as I met Mili and part of my family on my mom's side, they're Catholics. And I was telling Mili, like, I have a bigger appreciation just for how God wired us differently.
Yes.
Right? And yes, I think we can go so far on the pendulum on either side. But I think the original intention of why all this denomination started is not wrong. I think it's just the wiring we have. And then for sure, I think it can deviate, but at the same time, I feel like it starts in a good place. People are different. And I think that's good.
And hopefully that brings us together, because we all know that we're not going to be safe for our religion. We're going to be safe because we love God, we love Jesus, and He's the one who died for us on a cross. So we can be free, and we can, like He came back from the dead. It's the same thing with us.
Yes.
Thanks to him, we can be alive and we are going home one day. And so who cares if there's 35,000 denominations, but all this point us to Jesus? Gloria a Dios. Amen.
Yes.
Why not? Right?
I think that's.
But
what's-
we need to be unified.
Yes.
No uniform. Right?
Yeah. No, because I think that's why it's so beautiful when, like, the more I study scripture, and it's amazing because you read the Bible and you learn something, and you read it again and you learn something new, and you read it again and you keep learning, and there's always like something popping out because I think it never ends. But one of the things I've learned is that the church, I just love how Jesus said, against the church, the gates of hell won't prevail against my church.
Yeah.
And that to me is just so powerful because I think, I mean, obviously Jesus is God. And I think he knew when he came that he was going to have followers, and that is his church, and nothing will prevail against that church. And I think that's still strong, even if it's different denominations. I think within the denominations, and even within people that maybe are not in any of those denominations, maybe they don't even consider themselves Christians, I think Jesus knows who his church is, right? And I think when
his
you're
kids.
following him, I think you know too.
Absolutely. I mean, and look how he brings people together. I mean,
Yes.
in 2 weeks, I've known you. I mean, it's just, and then I've seen you a few times at Pacifica, at different, here.
Yes.
And now today.
Yes. And that is
Amazing how God brings a community together and how he brings people together.
yeah.
And I love the people he brings together. I love the body
Yes.
of Christ. And I
Yeah.
love how crazy we all are.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and so Mili's second time she heard God like clearly speak to her, because she all the times, she's like, "Oh, God, talk to me," she's like that, and I love
have
that
a good
wiring,
relationship with him.
right? That's good.
100%.
I love that, But one was when God told her, "Yeah, Beto is the guy for you, right? You're supposed to marry him." So we talked about it at the beginning, but the second time she heard that was 15 years later at Pacifica Christian School. And she heard, "I brought you from so far so that you can be here in this community. This is your people.
This is your people.
This is your people." And then we started meeting people like you and awesome people. And now we're at this event of like C.S. Lewis and dinner and getting to know more people.
So my
It's
friend invited
impressive.
me without, we invite her for
She was here for a
a
podcast.
podcast, right?
And
Like,
then
"Hey,
she said, "I'm going."
to
Yeah.
this. I just wanna be my guest. Come over."
Mm-hmm.
And like, wow, what a small world. And she doesn't go to Pacifica.
Yeah.
She's just supporting the school.
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, it's totally like a God thing, like bringing us together.
Oh, Beto, speaking of, I want to ask, not to interrupt you, but how was your steak that night?
I loved it. Yes.
Because you didn't get the hamburger, right? But you got the steak.
Yeah, I got a
Beto was
steak.
telling me
Oh,
how
I
he
love
did-
it.
he didn't
Anytime
get the
there's steak,
hamburger,
I'll
but
get steak.
But you got the steak.
Yes.
Did you get a steak?
And a stomach ache.
No. Did you get a steak?
I think that was for the coffee.
You think so?
I think
Oh my
so.
gosh, that's.
I
I had
know.
the same thing, Beto.
Really?
I'm kidding you. I got so sick afterwards, and I think it was the coffee.
I think it was.
I
Yeah.
think it really was the
Oh,
coffee. Did
that
you
think
have
so.
the
affect
coffee?
me, yes.
You had the
But I
coffee?
ate salmon. I ate
Oh,
salmon.
I had
and-
salmon too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think because it's happened to me before. So I think, and it like,
Like acid or something.
yes, exactly.
Wait, you got it too?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. That made me feel better that you.
Yes. I think so. I mean,
My mom the next morning, I was like, something didn't sit right.
yeah, because I don't think the steak was acid. I think the steak was awesome. But the coffee for sure. And it was my third coffee of the day.
And it wasn't decaf, it was regular.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
Eating
think that
that
was
night
it.
at
And I
coffee.
didn't put no milk or anything. I just had it like that.
Oh, I did. But anyway.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. But it was a great night, and
Great.
it's just lovely to get to know more people. We were talking to people outside before going into the dinner, and kind of like geeking out about C.S. Lewis, then asking people about their kids being at Pacifica, all that sort of stuff. So it was awesome. I mean, I feel like, wow.
Yeah.
Because I guess if I tie it back to that story of how Mili, wrote it down, and then it gave me the confidence of like, okay, she's the one for me. I think in this sense, God tells Mili, this is your people. And then by being there, and it's C.S. Lewis and it's stuff I love, it's like, okay, it's giving me the confidence of like, yeah, this is your people.
Yeah.
Go and
Yeah.
have a good time.
So
Because Mili knows I'm not like that.
if you could
I was so
say,
surprised.
if you could say out of this podcast today, because I know I have to get going pretty soon, but if you could say one thing that people could take away this week from our discussion today, like take out one thing, what do you think it would be from our discussion today that you want to encourage people with today?
Refocus.
Refocus.
What was the other one you said? Refocus and remind yourself. Remind
That
yourself.
who we are
Yeah, and refocus.
in Jesus Christ. Because we're in a combat. We're fighting. Probably people is like, they're great, but they're doing nothing. And it's hard to be here and be open and share the gospel and share God, because I feel the devil is attacking us more. I feel that every day, every moment. I just need to be aware of what I'm doing and who is, it's me, it's the devil, it's the world, but when I'm protected, because I have the whole armor in me, I'm peaceful. Okay. And that's when we hear that his peace surpasses all understanding. Because sometimes maybe we don't have food to eat for the next day. We have today. But tomorrow, we don't know if we want to eat. Tomorrow, I don't know if we want to have money to pay the rent. And that is tough. That's not easy. And can be, other things like, I don't know.
A relationship.
A relationship, like for every person is different.
Right.
We always fighting with something.
Yes, and your mind always goes to the negative thing, even of the darkness rather than the light, even though everything is
it's so easy because it's not our nature.
Yeah.
Because we're sinners.
We need to force ourselves to refocus on that. What do you think, Beto, out of our conversation today?
To me, it's the image of God. When Mili said that she opened the envelope and, God created you in his image and then said he commanded you to take control, to govern, basically. And I think to me, that's kind of like what it's tying this all together, that when we're born in the image of God, right? Maybe you might be a baby and you might be learning as you grow and having all the input from everybody. But I think it's almost like, I'm going to dare to say, as you are being born, you're made in the image of God. Maybe you don't know how to express it. Maybe you cry, right? But I think I think it's a natural thing for us as humans to know. And then it's almost like this pastor was saying, you're born a genius. And as you grow older, people start stripping it away because they start telling you other things and you start believing those other things. So I think that to me would be the one. You are made in the image of God from the very beginning, and go back to that. Refocus.
Remind yourself.
Refocus and mature. Because I feel like we get so comfortable in drinking milk as a babies. That's enough. You need to eat real food.
Steak.
You need to pass to another level. Otherwise, you're never going to grow. So it's like, let's keep eating food, real food.
Yeah.
Food that loves you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can have this energy back to continue fighting, because it never is going to end.
Mine would be to pay attention to the people God puts around you, because they're around you for a reason, and who he brings into your life. And, I read a quote, I think I was on social media the other day. You never know God's love until you sit at the table with Judas, because you're going to have people you don't like sitting at your table, and you better learn to love them too. So pay attention who God's putting in your life. And if for me, it's all about the people. Like it makes me love God more when I see who he brings into my life. Even if it's the people, like there's certain people I do not like, but now I look back at them and I go, wow, if I wouldn't have had that purpose, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Wow.
If I wouldn't have had that person, some of them I really don't like. But now I look back and I see, oh, they actually brought some good out of me.
Wow. That's great.
The necessity of an enemy. We need it. We need our enemies.
To grow up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That takes the milk away real quick.
That's good. I love that. Yeah, we need our enemies.
Thank you for having me
super
today.
profound. And point people to what's coming up, because we know you have like a vision event. Who can go? Who should go?
Yeah.
What is that?
So I hate it when people call it a vision board event because it's not a vision board event.
I'm glad I didn't say board.
Sorry, thank you. Yes. Because I feel like people need to be reminded of these things. What is your vision? Like, what are you talking to God about? What has he placed in your heart? It says to write it down, to make it clear, and to take action for it. So once a year, I spend 3 or 4 hours. I invite different speakers in and I have them come and talk to you about your vision, how they, as professionals, develop their vision for business, for their bodies. I have a neuroscientist come in, I have pastors come in, and they talk about vision. And I noticed that creates a momentum in myself. And then I noticed that it's been doing it for other people, that as they're talking, we're getting ideas. And not all of them are Christians, but most of them are Christians. And they come in and they start talking about these ideas, and it gives you an idea for what vision do you want? What do you want to write down? What are you going to work towards this year? And it says, in scripture that if you don't have a vision, you perish.
Beto,
So
you need a vision.
You need a vision. Everyone needs a vision. And you need to have the hope that God's going to do that vision with you this year. And so we spend this time. It's on December 7th, and it's at Lido House here in Newport. And I'm excited about it.
Where we can book our tickets.
Yes, online. I'll give you the QR code. You can post it.
Awesome.
Is that good?
Yes, that's the easy way.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to be there.
Thank you. Yes.
That's
I hope
fun.
you will. Yes, both of you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
That was
Beto and Mili.
wonderful.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
I love it. Thanks for
You're the
allowing my
sweetest.
dogs.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Pearl and Marshmallow,
Yes.
so well behaved. He's like, what? Who called me?
You guys were the stars today.
Yes.
Yes.
And next
They
time
gotta
we'll-
hang out with Manchitas one of these days.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, my friends, thank you for being here on another amazing episode of Christian Podcast Latino with Beto and Mili and Amy. We'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure if you like this episode to maybe share it with a friend, give it a positive review, follow us, subscribe to the channel. We're on every single platform. Or you can visit us at christianpodcast.com. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.